Good evening, everybody. Mr. Aaron, Ms. Apurva Chaturvedi, all the distinguished guests, representatives from other countries, Bhutan, Nepal, Sri Lanka, Maldives, and also Government of India, and all other panelist members and distinguished guests. First of all, I would like to thank the organizers for inviting me to speak on this topic, which is very, very relevant, and at the South Asia Clean Energy Forum. Friends, as we all know, South Asia is one of the most developing regions, and India, of course, is leading the way with a GDP growth which is expected to be around 7 to 8% every year from now onwards. While the growth is welcome, it also, brings in some adverse impacts. One, of course, good thing is that with the growth, the per capita income also increases, the standards of living increase, but unfortunately with this, the temperatures are also increasing, particularly in this region. So while the incomes are increasing, the temperatures are also increasing, with the result that cooling is no longer a luxury, it is becoming necessity. So that's the difference. Earlier, when we used to have air conditioners, it used to be only in the seen as a sign of luxury, but today it is seen as a sign of necessity, and even the low income households are opting for cooling now because of the global temperature increase. So because of this, whatever savings we are making, energy savings by way of energy efficient lighting, and also by way of introduction of electric buses and also the renewable energy, but unless we address this issue of cooling, I think we will not be able to achieve our goals. So in this context, the present topic of low carbon comfort and cooling, which has been the topic of this session, I think is very, very relevant from this point of view, because as I said, this is going to be one of the main focus areas as far as the energy efficiency is concerned on the cooling solutions. So in this, you have invited all the industry partners, you have invited the users who are the maximum consumers of cooling solutions, the Indian Railways, the giant PSUs like NTPC in their colonies, in their plants. So I think this session will really provide some innovative solutions for this unique problem which we are going to face. Now coming to my background, we are handling the housing project. As you know, the Honorable Prime Minister Shri Modi ji, he has introduced the Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana, which aims to provide housing for poor households, houseless people. And in the entire country, since 2016 onwards, last 8 years, almost 40 million houses have been completed. So while it is good thing to tackle the problem of air conditioners in the existing house, it is also equally important to look at the problems for the new houses which we are constructing. So in this 40 million houses which we are constructing, in my state, which I represent in Andhra Pradesh, we have got about 2.5 million houses which we are constructing, and already about 1 million have been completed. So what we thought is, because we come from a region where there are only 3 kinds of climate: hot, hotter, hottest, they say. There is no winter. So the problem of cooling is very acute. We have to address this problem. So therefore, in the house design, apart from air conditioners, which only some small section use, what we thought is the house design itself per se can address the cooling problem to a large extent. If the proper ventilation is made, if proper the window to floor ratio, window to wall ratio is maintained, I think the temperatures can reduce. Second thing is the use of the building material itself. That is also equally important. If low cost construction material is used, locally available, environmentally sustainable material, that can also address the cooling problems. And the third most important thing is energy efficient appliances, particularly in partnership with ESL. For each households, now we are supplying energy efficient BLDC fans and also bulbs and tube lights, which will reduce the temperature. The fans particularly will help in the cooling, and because it is energy efficient fans, it will lead to less energy consumption. And one of the most innovative solutions which we tried was using the cool rooftop solutions. Simply by putting a cool paint over the rooftop, we saw that the temperatures decreased by almost 3 to 4 degrees in all the households. It costs about 8 to 10,000 rupees for a small house of about 300 square feet, but then the impact is long lasting, decreases the temperature by 3 to 5 degrees centigrade. So these kind of solutions have really helped in bringing down the usage of either the coolers or the fans or the air conditioners. And another partnership which we did with ESL earlier was supplying energy efficient air conditioners to the households to replace their existing, and the money they save on the electricity bills is used for repayment of this energy efficient air conditioner. So with this kind of innovative solutions, we found that one can contribute a lot towards providing comfort, cooling, as well as low carbon cooling. So I think lots of innovative solutions are available, and I am very happy that this conference is organized. Outside only we saw, some innovative solutions, solar-based cooling solutions, inverter-based cooling solutions, which consume less electricity. So I think this is the need for all of us. Today we are using air conditioner, but I am sure this must be using the power from the grid. So right from this hall itself, we have to start the innovation. And the big users, like the Indian Railways, they have to provide, because it's a very hot climate here. Similarly, NTPCs, similarly the other big organizations, the big commercial complexes which we are coming up, the big residential complexes. So I think this kind of a workshop will definitely provide innovative solutions, and then new companies are coming, new technologies are coming. So the need of the hour is LC4. So low cost, basically, which is low carbon, low cost as well, comfort and cooling collectives. So I think very appropriate topic has been chosen for this. I thank the organizers for organizing this, and I'm sure that the deliberations in this workshop and esteemed panelists are there will definitely bring out innovative solutions so as to address this problem. Of course, it's not a one-day job or a one-year job. I think for the next 20 to 30 years, we need to focus on this, and as technology develops, definitely innovative solutions would emerge. So I would like to thank all of you, and we all look forward to listening to the panelists for their ideas. Thank you one and all.
Thank you, sir, for sharing your opening remarks. And like you said, it is possible. And our next segment is looking at showcasing low carbon cooling solution implemented in South Asia. So here we have 3 experts who are going to share their interventions and experiences of scaling these cooling and heating technologies. Okay, so just a slight change in the agenda. We would like to have a photo up first because some of our dignitaries need to leave. So we have Dr. Jaideep Gupta, additional member, Railway Electrification Railway Board, Indian Railways, sir. Ravindra Kumar Ji, Director, Operations, NTPC. Vishal Kapoor, CEO, ESL. Ms. Aminat Shiza, Assistant Director, Ministry of Climate Change, Environment and Energy from Maldives. Simi Serene, Co-founder of Sustaina Cooling India Fund. Harkesh Dabas, Managing Director, William J. Clinton Foundation, India affiliate and a partner of Clinton Health Access Initiative. Dr. Charu Jain, Director, Advait Foundation. Nandan Lakoraju, from Managing Director, Carrier Technologies India Limited. Srinivas Teru, Head R&D, Voltas. Anirudh Joshi, Chief Engineers from Taj Hotels.
Yes. Can we also have the gracious presence of our Mission Director, USAID India and Bhutan, Steve, on stage. Aaron Schubert, the Director for the Indo-Pacific Office with USAID India. We have Tripta Singh, the Senior Energy Advisor, USAID Washington, to please be on stage as we release the vision or a statement of LC4?
This is the official commitment and support to the idea of low carbon comfort and cooling collective, and we're happy to have this wonderful gathering of end users, technology providers, financial institutions, philanthropies, governments to take this effort forward and ensure the achievement of our goal of a 50% reduction in cooling related emissions in the next 5 years. So a big hand, ladies and gentlemen.
So we'll go back to showcasing the examples by 3 short presentations from our experts. First up, I'd like to invite Mr. Mangesh Lokhande from Infosys for his presentation.
Yeah, good evening all. I'm Mangesh, representing Infosys Limited. Infosys is one of the India's largest IT organizations. So along with IT, I just want to say we are actually India's one of the largest own built environment development. So we have more than 60 million square feet of our own building campuses for our employees, for our business. So what are the low carbon cooling, comfort cooling approach we are actually adopting? I'll just present it. So our main aim of the building, this IT buildings, is actually to provide the productive and sustainable workplace for our occupants. So it enhance. So our major strategy is to give the best environment quality and deliver the sustain and with minimum use of resources. So it enhance the productivity of the occupants. So just now Mr. Jain has what mentioned. We also, our strategy of the entire building design, green building design or ultra efficient building design on the 4 pillars. First pillar is actually building shape and orientations. Second, which is actually passive design, is a part of the passive design. Our building, there is a first design actually, the heat gain inside the building should be the minimum. Second, whatever actually heat gain has to be treated with the best efficient system, the design of the systems. Third is to actually that best efficient system has to be run with the best efficient equipments, and whatever actually these 3 elements has to be run automated, that is smart building. So whatever say actually our building, when it is actually passive design, it comes to the building shape and orientation. So most of the buildings are designed at north and south orientations. The building is designed such that most of the times it get lit with the natural lights. So depth of the building has restricted, span of the building has always restricted. All the utility or server room, data center or utility area are always inside in the core area. So all the occupants will always have the natural lights available. Window wall ratio, second element is actually should be always less than 30%. Then this is actually window design. So these are all the passive design components, so that actually the heat gain inside the building will be the minimum. So these windows are designed with the always DGU, with the inner gas, with the 2 types of mostly this pane, daylight pane and view pane, which has actually lighting shade devices, interior also to maximize the penetration of the natural light. Next is this is actually daylighting, how actually one of the buildings in Infosys. So most of the times occupants get the natural light. It improves the employee health and well-being and also the productivity of the employee. So what I mentioned, the third pillar of our building design is to use the best efficient cooling system to cool the heat load, whatever actually comes inside the building. So we use actually radiant cooling systems. Most of the actually buildings provides actually non-coastal area are with the radiant cooling system. This is actually our first generation cooling system. It is a radiant slab systems. We install in our Hyderabad campus, where we compare the radiant cooling system with the high efficient conventional air conditioning. We found that 30%, this radiant cooling system is always 30% more efficient than any high-end conventional systems. It requires 75% less air conditioning, air compared to the conventional system. it uses actually more fresh air. So this is our first generation radiant slab technology. After that, we have developed, we have seen actually there are a lot of potentials. We have some restriction on the radiant slab, using radiant slab systems. So we have developed our in-house radiant baffle system. We call it as this product as ReadyFlux. It is our design, develop and manufacture and install by our own organization. We have patent, we received patent, European patent and Indian patent for this technology. So this ReadyFlex produce twice the cooling or heating capacity, has a more 2 times whatever actually available in the market cooling systems. So these are, if you see that radiant baffles, I'll just show you the another picture. So it has this radiant baffle has its own advantage. We can change the requirement as per business need. We can change the business needs, the what do you say, interior of the buildings. So in the radiant slab we have some limitation. In the radiant baffles we don't have that limitations. In the radiant baffle system we are using 100% fresh air. So the occupant always get the are actually as per new COVID guidelines also, there is no recirculation of the air. So, and though this system is actually more efficient, actually almost 35 to 40% efficient than the conventional air conditioning system where you use the 30% or 40% recirculation air. So we have almost 4 million square feet installed in since 2016, till actually 9 years we have this system in operation. Radiant slab we use in the first building in 2011. It's more than 10 years this system is in working. Now this radiant baffles we are using for the more than 3 million square feet we are planning to operate it. So these are actually our highest performance salon. So EPI we are able to manage less than 60 EPI for this building. So this is actually data automation driven. This last parameter of our last pillars of our design philosophy is actually smart buildings. So these are actually how we are actually manage our campuses through the BMS systems. And again we did for our existing building we did the deep green retrofits. So there are actually a lot of things we have done actually for our existing buildings also. We reduced 35 megawatt load connected load through our deep green initiatives. These are some of the example. We have used actually heat pumps for our heating requirements. So we have reduced almost more than 55% per capita consumption, and we are actually operating continuously monitoring this through our central command center. So that's it from Infosys. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mangesh, for sharing the Infosys experience. And we can see, with Infosys, they keep adding on to the number of people who are occupying the space, but the cooling and the KPIs of the energy performance is also striving to become even more stricter and less. Next, we have Shruti Sagar from Smart Joules to give us a small presentation.
Hey everyone, this is Shruti from Smart Joules. For those who don't know Smart Joules, it's a company which does energy efficiency for space cooling, which means we do centralized cooling for buildings like hospitals, hotels, commercialized buildings, commercial real estate, etc. And we have been operational for the last 10 years. I'm deeply honored to be here to share some of our learnings that we have had over the last 10 years of building the company. So I'll start right away with those. So our first learning was when we started the company, we realized that there is misaligned incentives everywhere in the entire value chain of providing cooling in a facility, right from the design to equipment selection to operations and maintenance. For example, during the design phase, the consultants do not have access to operational data. They always use thumb rules and always index towards doing overcooling and not deciding on the thermal comfort. They also don't have any incentives linked to bringing more energy efficient designs, and that's a major problem in the design phase of the entire journey. If I look at the construction side, whenever the construction is happening or procurement processes are happening, there is always an obsession towards going with the cheapest thing or the lowest capex obsession. And again, there is no incentive which allows people to choose a more energy efficient technology. And number 3, most importantly, during the operations phase, there is little use of technology, there's barely any automation there, and things are operated manually. Another big problem is that all the operations contracts are basically on flat fee, and there is no incentive to do any sort of energy efficiency or provide any thermal comfort which aligns to their basic salaries or O&M contracts. These overall create a lot of compounded waste at all facilities. Our learning number 2 is that the existing automation technologies are not really great. The major problems we have faced are that number 1, the automation technologies are uneconomical, which means they are expensive and they provide low ROI. Number 2, they are quite difficult to use. You require specialized people, 1-2 people at every facility to operate them. Number 3, they become obsolete really fast, which means that over 95% of the systems that we see, the BMS systems we see, they become obsolete within 2 years, for the sole reason that they require specialized people for maintenance or customizations as the needs of the building change. And number 4, these automation technologies are not really smart. They are not able to take autonomous decisions, and they are just rule based and not really very resource efficient. Our insight number 3 is that choosing sustainability is actually choosing affordability. Why I say this is because in the entire life cycle cost of cooling, over 70% of the cost comes from energy bills, which means that doing energy efficiency is equivalent to choosing profitability. Now, based on these 3 learnings, we have built a team with deep expertise in design, operations, implementation, product development, and doing automation. Over the last 10 years, we have operated in 50 buildings in India with 25.2 crores kilowatt hour of energy conserved. This is, by the way, equivalent to the energy required to power 28 lakhs Indian households. Overall, we have done abatement of 200,000 tons of carbon emissions, and we have also saved 204 crores for our clients. Now we are on a mission to do our bit more. So by 2030, we are on a mission to save 29 million tons of carbon emissions. How are we going to do it? Based on 2 basic principles that we have operated on. Number 1, we want to make sustainable cooling the cheapest option via cooling as a service business model, which we have been doing. This hits right on the first learning that we had, which means that we save 10 to 15% by design. We do the designing by operational data and not thumb rules. We save another 5 to 15% by choosing equipments which are more energy efficient by investing initially into the capex and later on recovering, de-risking the investment into the technology for our end clients. Number 3, we save 5 to 15% via operations by using automation, intelligent automation during the entire operations and maintenance phase, which also helps in predictive maintenance. We are operating into existing buildings and new buildings via this cooling as a service model as of now. Our principle number 2 is that we want to make intelligent automation a default technology by reducing the cost by 50% and increasing the value by 10x. How do we do it? We have our in-house IoT and AI-enabled building management system, which delivers 100x the speed, memory, and computation compared to the traditional BMS. Number 2, we are cloud-based and not on-premise, which means that we have a centralized system there. And number 3, we deliver 10x the value because of this AI enablement. And second, it's very easy to use. It's as easy to use as clicking on WhatsApp. I'll quickly run towards what we have delivered overall via using these 2 principles. We have operated across 44 hospitals, delivering an average of 29% energy efficiency. If you look at this map of India, we have operated in north with 33.6% energy efficiency in a hot climate like Delhi. In the south, we have done At KIMS Trivandrum, 30.8% energy efficiency, and efficiency has gone as high as 73% at G. Kuppuswamy Naidu Hospital in Coimbatore. The energy conservation measures that we use are, first, during the design, we use energy efficient chiller plant coupled with low approach cooling tower. We also do new technologies, as Mr. Mangesh was talking about. We do radiant cooling. We use radiant cooling with underfloor piping with baffle system. We use EC fans on AHUs. We use our in-house automation technology, etc. And we want to collaborate more with the industry partners here. We want to act as a living lab here, which means that we want to invest into new technologies. And concept demonstration. We would also look for some financial support to do these demos and publish these information for wider adoption in the industry. Thanks a lot.
We now have Rahul Eron, Vice President, Sales for Desiccant Rotors International Private Limited.
Good evening. My name is Rahul Eron, and I represent Desiccant Rotors International. We are manufacturer of some energy efficient HVAC systems. I'll just talk about some of the technologies today. One is evaporative cooling. So I think we all are in hot areas. So one of the most underrated technology for cooling is evaporative cooling. And I can tell you now there are a lot of advancements available in evaporative cooling, and then there are hybrid measures also. So there is something which is called as two-stage evaporative cooling. That's a technology which is very promising, especially in hot and dry climate. Two-stage evaporative cooling. And in humid areas, one can even look at hybrid air conditioning. So you can have a combination of evaporative cooling along with a compressor based or a refrigeration based system, air conditioning system. So that's one technology which I think we must all start looking at. Then this is a case study which we did. This is for a school, and I can tell you that we saved almost 85% of their energy on their air conditioning cost vis-a-vis air conditioning. We deployed a two-stage evaporative cooler, and we saved almost 85% of their energy cost by doing a two-stage, properly designed two-stage evaporative cooling system. This is some glimpse about that system. 90,000 CFM of machines were supplied, which could save almost 85% of their energy. And I tell you, this is one of the best technologies because it's 100% fresh air, especially for schools, for students. It's one of the best technologies. Though no recirculation, no problem of indoor air quality. Another aspect which one must understand there's a difference when we are talking about low carbon cooling. There's a difference between what we call as a thermal comfort and adaptive comfort. See, we all are from hot and humid climate. We don't have to design our buildings at 21, 22 degrees centigrade. We can still design buildings at higher temperatures. So you can design buildings even at 25 degrees centigrade, 26 degrees centigrade, because that's what adaptive comfort is all about. Adaptive comfort means when your mean outdoor air prevailing temperatures are high, you can actually feel comfortable at higher temperatures. So that's another concept which is very important when we talk about low carbon cooling solutions. Another thing which is again especially for this region, South Asian region, our biggest enemy is not the temperature, it's the moisture. We all represent a region where we spend most of our air conditioning cost for tackling the moisture problems. So there are technologies available which are very energy efficient, and you can, instead of using a refrigeration system for control of moisture, you can use desiccant based systems. So there are technologies, and we specialize in those kind of technologies. We have deployed even for commercial buildings combination of evaporative cooling along with desiccant technologies, where evaporative cooling takes care of our temperatures while desiccant technologies take care of our moisture. So that's another technology one can look into. Then for your fresher side, We have energy recovery wheels. We have enthalpy wheels, which can actually save a lot of energy in a building, especially on the fresh air side. On your fresh air side, you can at least save 70% of energy cost by designing and employing a good energy recovery wheels. If you have waste heats available, there are adsorption chillers. One can look into a technology like adsorption chiller, especially when you are having solar thermal water generation on board. This is a technology which can give you chilled water by using hot water. Chilled beams. So we heard about radiant cooling. Radiant cooling is a technology which is pure sensible cooling, or which is purely handles the temperature. So there's another technology which is also in the same line like a radiant cooling. They are called as chill beams. Just to give you an idea, it's a fan coil unit without a fan in it. So you save a lot of energy on fan side. So it's basically a coil. And then you have, as I mentioned, latent moisture removal. Moisture removal using a good design dedicated outdoor system can save a lot of problems for your buildings and can do a lot of energy efficiency for your buildings. Some of the examples I would like to show, we have deployed these technologies in Bangladesh, in India, a lot of factories, a lot of commercial spaces. You see, these systems are all hybrid systems. So indirect cooling, direct cooling, then you have air conditioning on this. Some of very unique projects. DISEC is one important. Nalanda University is a net zero energy campus. Outdoor air systems using desiccants for moisture, and then you use a high temperature chilled waters for doing your sensible cooling or temperature cooling. So it's a net zero campus with a dedicated outdoor systems. Some of the other important installations, and these are very few, I would say. Australian Embassy in Indonesia, highly humid, but using a lot of desiccants there for moisture control. Other references, we did a big project with Asian Development Bank in Sri Lanka. These are 3 installations which we did, all low carbon cooling technologies. One is for their Standards Institute, the other one is for their state post office, and third one is their pharma manufacturing company. So all done through India, low carbon cooling technologies, which saves a lot of energy. And then some of the other examples. Some other machines which we did. And what is there in future? A lot of work going on carbon capture, especially to, CO2 removal in the building can save a lot of ventilation energy. So that's where we are working on CO2 removals. Some novel material, because one of the largest constraint in a desiccant system is energy. So novel material for desiccants. That's it. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Rahul. Now, since our partners have already taken the commitment to the collective action for low carbon comfort and cooling, I would like to now call upon our dignitaries to speak to their vision and commitment for reducing cooling emissions. First up, may I request Dr. Jaideep Gupta, AMRE, Railway Board, Indian Railways, to speak to the vision and commitment for reducing cooling emissions, and especially highlighting the actions and initiatives, sir, that you've taken at Indian Railways.
Namaskar and good afternoon, dignitaries. As you all know, Indian Railways carry around 23 million people per day, and as we are committed to our net carbon zero commitments by 2030, we will be net carbon zero emitter by 2030. We are also committed to the comfort experience, the comfort travel of our passengers. First of all, I must congratulate the organizers for taking up such an important subject today, low carbon comfort and cooling future, because as we proceed towards the net carbon zero missions, it's imperative that we should also try to decrease the carbon footprint while while we work on air conditioning and cooling comfort of passengers, offices, and other places. As you all know, Indian Railways is taking a lead in this. We already have started a pilot project in Northern Railway headquarters. We have recently we have installed a high efficiency cooling system, having evaporative using this technology, and also for the dehumidifier we need a lot of low energy consumption solutions. Indian Railways, in Anand Vihar railway station also, we are going for a better cooling system, and also for the highly efficient fans. We'll be organizing a few competitions for so that better and better efficient fans can be produced, which can which can give the same comfort with 50% of energy consumption. We have made a policy for super ECBC technology also. We have given to the entire Indian Railways that all our buildings have to be super ECBC compliant, and in this things we need the participation of all the private players, all the government players, and once again I thank the organizers for this wonderful opportunity to bring everyone together. Thank you.
Thank you. May I now request Sri Ravindra Kumar Ji, Director Operations NTPC, to please come and share what NTPC's initiatives towards low carbon comfort cooling are.
Good afternoon, all dignitaries, all US aid persons, ladies, gentlemen. Actually, NTPC is committed for all saving of electricity, and that's reducing carbon. So let me first discuss what is the vision and commitment regarding the cooling, reducing the cooling emissions. In 2019, the India government became the first in the world to implement the National Cooling Action Plan. So to begin with, I must compliment our nation leadership and say that we have a right path for ourselves. According to the India Cooling Action Plan by MOEF 2019, India's cooling demand is projected to be increase 8 times by 2037-38, owing to urbanization, climate change, and various other factors. This includes building sector, cold chain, refrigeration sector, transport, air conditioning, and so on. The ICAP also aims to reduce cooling demand by 20-25% by 2037-38. As per IEA, in India, electricity demand increased by about 2% for every 1 degree increase in ambient temperature above 24 degrees centigrade. In June 2023, India's electricity demand on high temperature day was about 28% higher than the average. Between 8% to 10% and 10% of the country's 300 million households in our country of 1.4 billion people have an AC. If we conservative assume 1 ton AC in these households, the electricity demand from the domestic ACs range from 60 to 100 gigawatt. The total electricity demand in the country ranges from 200 to 250 gigawatt for most of the part in the year. The vast amount of electricity that India's growing number of AC will require presently a significant challenge. Already during summer hours, ACs have consumed 40 to 60% of the total power demand in the cities Delhi and Mumbai. By 2037, close to 50% of the domestic households are expected to have ACs. A report by the International Energy Agency IEA predicts that by 2050, India will have more than 1 billion AC in operation. According to the IEA, by 2050, the amount of power India consumes solely by air conditioner is expected to exceed the total power consumed by all the African countries. The growing demand for cooling India has a significant impact on the country's power grid, contribution to the peak loads, and straining the electricity supply. Hence, it is imperative that we need to both optimize our cooling requirement and use energy efficient cooling system. The vision for reducing cooling emission is to create a sustainable energy efficient cooling ecosystem that meets rising global demand while minimizing environment aspects. Involves a comprehensive transformation of cooling demand, cooling technology, enhancing energy efficiency, phasing out high global warming sources, promoting way to optimize cooling. Is echoing? Hello. Promoting the way to optimize cooling requirement. So, NTPC along with other organizations also have taken some action for scaling up the low carbon cooling solutions. We as NTPC, being the country's largest generator, we are committed to meet the energy requirement of the country through sufficient capacity addition from the multiple fuel sources. We have implemented VAM for meeting the cooling requirement in plant by utilizing the waste heat of the flue gases. We are implementing efficient building design on green building concept like ECBC, Griha, etc. We are also undertaking initiatives as electricity consumers through driving net zero action, our 50 plus township and offices. And we are glad to say that NTPC has a MOU with USAID to enable transformation of all existing upcoming township and offices to be net zero compliant. A roadmap for decarbonization of both current and future NTPC township and building is currently having developed under this MOU, and we are bringing with a handbook for this and policy matters. Cooling have been identified as one of the high priority area for reducing energy usage. NTPC is evaluating low carbon and innovative technologies such as super efficient air conditioners, waste heat, renewable based system, desiccant type cooling system, and so on, with USAID's low carbon comfort and cooling objectives. NTPC is committed to enhance thermal comfort for all its staffs and residents while also reducing its carbon footprint for cooling. Some of the specific intervention I'd like to highlight. So, we have gone for the efficient building design for optimizing cooling requirement, integrating passive cooling in all future developments, innovative technologies such as waste heat based direct cooling system, district cooling system, super efficient air conditioners, solar thermal cooling system, evaporator cooling system, desiccant cooling system, control and management of cooling system, etc. is on the desk. We are also sensitizing our employee and residents on the best operational practices, like we are telling that you maintain temperature for 24 degrees centigrade, not less, because that is a comfort level what we find. So thanking you for bringing this as important aspects of low carbon comfort and cooling, and we are committed to it. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much, sir, for sharing your commitment and the actions that you are taking so far and continue to take. Next up, I would request Mr. Nanda Lakaraju, Managing Director, Career Technologies India Limited, to come up on stage.
No, thank you all very much. Feel honored to be here along with the panel. This is a topic that's very close to my heart and also the hearts of a lot of folks at Carrier. Now, when I talk about our commitment, I think our commitment has always been very strong in this particular area. But I don't have a capsule of a specific local commitment. So I'll talk a little bit more on exactly what Carrier has committed to, in this particular area. Back in 2020, I think we talked about sort of avoiding a gigaton worth of CO2 emissions by 2030, and I think we've also released our approach to really become net zero by 2050. So there's close to about 3 billion tons, 3 gigatons of CO2 emission reduction that you need across. And you can't do this all in one bite, right? It's a big problem to do. And so, frankly, the first part is really about electrification and efficiency. I think that will give us about 45% of that reduction. Now, there's a big work in terms of life cycle. I know the speakers ahead of me did talk about how much energy is consumed over the life cycle of a product. But if you can actually get that particular product to behave more optimally, we can get another 35% reduction on there. Last but not least, I think we have to work on refrigerants, which is about 15%, and I think sustainable materials is about 5%. And it's not just what we do on the product, but I think there's also a lot of work that we are doing within our factories to really make our factories and our operations more and more carbon neutral as we can, which requires a lot of choices, frankly, that you do. So I think that whatever we are working on is frankly globally very interconnected. Locally we are obviously trying to work a lot more. I'm an engineering R&D guy, so I can't publicly talk about all the disruptive technologies that we are working on, but frankly there is a lot of space in these particular areas. So again, a topic that's frankly very close to our heart. Look forward to working with all of you, as we go down this journey. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Nanda. We now request Aminat Shiza, Assistant Director, Ministry of Climate Change, Environment and Energy from Maldives, to come and share.
Good afternoon, everyone. Considering the situation of Maldives with the rise in temperatures, there is an increased dependency on mechanical cooling. And this is resulting in increased electricity bills for residential consumers, also for businesses. And we are also seeing air conditioning being added to all types of buildings. And recently, we are also seeing that air conditioning is being added to all of the schools of Maldives as well. So, market uptake of energy-efficient cooling systems still remain low in Maldives due to lack of availability, awareness, and also due to high upfront costs. This is because Maldives is very much highly dependent on import for cooling solutions such as air conditioners, refrigerators, and fans. So, ensuring that the country receives quality technology that is both efficient and cost effective is a concern that needs to be addressed. The Maldives has taken up initiatives such as the energy efficiency standards and labeling programs, which goes by the name of Hakatari program. In Hakatari program, cooling-related equipments such as air conditioners and refrigerators are also currently being covered, and additional appliances such as fans are now being included in the program. Another initiative that Maldives has undertaken is the energy efficiency guidelines for buildings that have been developed towards reducing the demand for cooling. The ministry is also currently developing an energy management guide for schools, focusing not only on design but also retrofitting for enhanced energy efficiency and comfort. In addition, regulations are also being currently being drafted for enforcement of the energy efficiency standards as well as building energy efficiency guidelines. This will provide a much needed regulatory foundation for ensuring energy efficiency in comfort and cooling solutions in the Maldives. The ministry recognizes that reducing cooling-related emissions is critical for survival and especially for protecting island ecosystems from climate threats like sea level rise. As a partner of the Low Carbon Comfort and Cooling Collective, the ministry is looking forward to implementing low carbon comfort and cooling solutions, beginning with pilots in a few schools and households. These pilots will lay a foundation for scaling low carbon comfort and cooling solutions in institutional and residential sectors. The ministry is also looking forward to strengthening the existing supply chain by making super efficient cooling technologies available and affordable to the market. Regional collaboration through LC4 will enable knowledge exchange, which is highly important for a small country such as Maldives, and it will also accelerate innovation and align our countries toward low carbon development. Collaboration with governments, end users, and philanthropies will enable scaling sustainable cooling while maintaining economic growth and social welfare. And once again, I would like to thank USAID for this opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Shiza. I would now request Simi Serene, co-founder of Sustaina Cooling India Fund, to please come on stage.
Hi everyone, my name is Simi Serene and I'm a partner in Sustaina Cooling India Fund. We have heard many times over the last hour that cooling is fast becoming a human right, which means that cooling will grow anywhere from 5 to 50x in the next decade. We've also heard that the current technologies are not enough and new technology and innovations are needed to scale cooling. Now, what that means is that many more startups will need to emerge who will not only adopt new technologies, but also new market models to make cooling as a service more accessible, to make cooling finance more accessible. Now, all of these startups need to be funded, and they're not getting that funding today. Just to give you a small statistic, of the $18 billion in funding that came into climate in India in the last 4 years, less than 1% went to cooling startups, which is why we believe that a cooling focused fund is essential to scale this industry in the country. So Sustaina is building a $100 million fund to invest in cooling startups. We will be looking to make Series A and B, which is $1 to $10 million investments in primarily 3 areas. We will invest in space cooling, so both residential and industrial cooling companies. We'll be investing in coal supply chains and new and emerging technologies like new materials, new refrigerants and whatnot. So, one, very excited to be here, and two, we believe that a fund investing in companies is not enough. The whole ecosystem needs to emerge, which includes startups, which includes large customers, which includes all the adopters. And we are really excited to work with LC4 to essentially help build this ecosystem and make sure that cooling as an industry grows over the next decade in India. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Simi. I'd now request Harkesh Dabas, Managing Director, William J. Clinton Foundation, India affiliate and partner of Clinton Health Access Initiative, to please come on stage.
Dignitaries, friends and colleagues, it's a privilege to be here. You might be wondering as to what is the Clinton Health Access Initiative, which is a health organization, might be doing at this forum. For over 20 years, we've been working with a large group of stakeholders, policymakers, regulators, partners, donors, to address some of the most pressing infirmities and market dysfunction insofar as health markets are concerned, be it vaccines, be it drugs, diagnostics, etc. Just as an illustration, in 2004, just 20 years ago, the price of HIV drugs per person per year was about $10,000, and everyone thought this is a problem that cannot be solved. Today, the price of drugs per person per year is $47. A 100-fold decrease in the price. Thank you. In 2004, the world thought this is a problem that cannot be solved. It's a markets problem, prices cannot come down, the number of people can't be put on treatment. And that's precisely what is happening insofar as the cooling market is concerned. And I speak specifically with respect to the air conditioning market, and that also home air conditioning market, which accounts for about 70% of the total market for cooling at this point in time. I was speaking to an industry leader just about 10 days ago, who told me, who's been a veteran for about 30 years in that industry, who said, just about 15 years ago, we were talking about market volumes of hundreds of thousands of ACs being sold in India. Today, that figure is anywhere between $10 to $12 million per year, and it's only bound to grow. Mr. Ajay Jain and a number of colleagues have highlighted as to how cooling is no longer a luxury, it's a health requirement. And because health and climate are so inextricably linked, that's why we as an organization are stepping forward in order to see as to how we might apply some of the lessons that we have applied to health markets to bring greater efficiency into the air conditioning market as well. It takes a village, as they say, to raise a child, and therefore, it will take policymakers, regulators, partners, donors, philanthropists, governments, everyone to come together around what is quite an inextricable problem, or it's seemingly so. It's a market that is characterized by tens of millions of retail buyers. It's a market which is extremely price sensitive, and therefore, just that 5,000 to 6,000 rupee difference between a 3-star and a 5-star means that 70% of ACs that are being bought today are 3-star ACs. And then there is a whole backlog of air conditioners that are installed base, and just addressing those can save us 4 billion tons of carbon by 2050. And I think a number of colleagues before this have already said as to how does that impact energy efficiency. As a growing country, as a country whose energy demands are only going to grow, I think this is one core component, just given that 20% of the installed stock by in the next 30 years is going to be in India. It's right now only 4% of the total air conditioning installed stock is in India. It's going to rise to 20%, and I think it's just not inextricably linked to our health, but I think it's linked to our future and our economic well-being as well. This is a great platform. I really want to thank the LC4 colleagues, the USAID colleagues for inviting us here. We are really privileged to be here, and we really look forward to working with all partners in trying to solve this problem and bringing funding around to what is an area that really needs to be addressed. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Dabas. May I now request Dr. Charu Jain, Director, Advait Foundation, to please come on stage.
Good evening. I represent the organization Advait, which is a not-for-profit working in the rural areas. I'm sure you must be wondering what is energy access to do in our rural when we have hardly any energy access. Well, there is so much more. Here we are not solving a problem. We don't want to get into a problem where we need to solve, but we need to mitigate that problem or stop the problem to happen. We are present in about 172 villages in the Phagi block of Jaipur district, working since the last more than 20 years. The areas being in energy efficiency, number one are the appliances in the houses. Every house does have a fan, a light, a refrigerator, and a number of them oil pressing machines and flour grinding. However, we do not have 24/7 electricity supply. We're still working on how these appliances can still be run on solar. Conversion of AC/DC, creating skill building on solar electricians. So still a number of these appliances can be run. It's also to do about home electrification, the source of electricity. There is so much scope to work on decentralized solar. While there are solar lights and solar fans, but we do not find that as a sustainable long-term solution. There still needs to be decentralized solar solutions, whether they are rooftops or at the village level, which needs to be explored. It's also now the houses. The mud-based houses are now more or less into the brick and mortar. There is a scope of design. There is so much to do with insulation of those houses. There is so much to do on the capacity building of the construction workers, so that even the construction becomes a streamlined system, and they are no longer, we are trying not to correct a system. Each household, we are talking about white, terraces. Why not? It has to be done. It has to be part of a system. It's also about the cooking fuel. We are still struggling with firewood. There again, the energy access to cooking fuel plays a very big role. And last is not the least is the skill enhancement activities, where we are looking at various clean technology-based, it's clean energy-based technologies for trainings and entrepreneurship models, which all get introduced in the villages. I really thank LC4 to give us a platform to be part of it and make a commitment, striving to improve our villages and prevent getting into a problem. Thank you. Thank you, USAID.
Thank you, Dr. Jain. And last not the least, but may I invite Srinivasu Mothuri, Head R&D Center from Voltas, as well as the SIAMA member, to please come on stage.
So good evening, everyone. So I'm from, my name is Srinivasu from Voltas Limited. It's a Tata Group company. First of all, Tata Group company of basically in Tata Group also sustainability is one of the prime most important role. So there is a project called Alingana across the more than 100 companies of Tata Groups. The Alingana is basically sustainability drive. So this is a project across the Tata Group companies. So Voltas is also member of that, since it is a Tata Group company. So our main aim is to that net zero by 2045. So for that there is various actions has been taken care in the factories. And coming to Voltas, there are various groups. There is a unitary product groups that basically comes to room air conditioners, one of the major segment. The room air conditioners we have been selling last year almost 2 million plus. So we are the number one market share in the market, in this Indian market. So here, from the starting, from 2010 onwards, when the energy efficiency regulations are coming in picture, Voltas is the first one foremost to start the energy efficient products. We have been producing products and promoting, higher energy efficiency products. That's how we got around 4 times the Bureau of Energy Efficiency Awards. So our main aim is to promote the higher efficiency air conditioners across the markets, and because we have a very strong network in the market. That is one of the area of promoting how to sell the five-star air conditioners. We have been tied up with super efficient air conditioner ESL, as well as we have been tied up with supply corporations like Tata Power and others, where they will be tied up on selling the five-star AC products, replacing the old ACs, etc. So that's where the both win-win. The Tata Power generation company also win. They can reduce the grid load by using a high energy efficiency products. So as well as we can sell more on a five-star ACs. So some of those activities also initiated, and also in terms of commercial AC products, in across all products we have been already taken out the refrigerants. We are across the products we are using zero ozone depletion potential refrigerants. There is a zero ozone depletion products as well as low GWP products. So in case of our room air conditioner, we have been using R32, which is 670 GWP. So 100% implementation from the starting onwards. That is one of the initiative with the MOEF. We have been driving that. And also in case of commercial refrigeration, we have been introduced all products changed to R290 refrigerant, which is low GWP as well as zero ODP. So that are the initiatives in the product line. As well as in case of new technologies, as folk talks about hybrid air conditioning, we have been developed and tried in the market with a hybrid plus solar kind of air conditioner, which can able to get almost 30 to 40% energy efficiency than the normal, even five-star air conditioner, more than that. So that is one of the products, and also we are trying to integrate IoT solutions more effectively with using, for example, using a fan, ceiling fan plus air conditioning, such a way that more comfort with a minimum air conditioning. And also we have projects division, where we have some of the projects. I tell you, we made one project in Delhi that is having geothermal air conditioning has been tried out, where we've been achieved very good efficiencies on that. And also that is also net zero building. And as well as we have another home appliances as well, the Voltas Beko, where we have manufacturing this refrigerators, washing machines and all. All these products are energy efficiency, regulatory under MEPS regulation with the BE, and those products are manufactured and at a high quality and concern. So across the manufacturing segments, our one of the drive is that minimize the energy consumption for the producing the products. That is, maximize the in-house manufacturing, that is backward integration, and minimize the transportation, using solar energy for the factories to make the products so that per product the energy consumption will be lesser, and trying to achieve the net zero by 2045. So that's all my side. Thank you very much for this.
Thank you, Vasuji. It's heartening to see, all these partners come together, government, from large end users, development organizations, technology providers, all coming together as a part of this collective to commit to LC for the objectives of bending the trajectory of cooling related emissions. I would request now Tatiana Marshall to hand over little mementos to our dignitaries. Tatiana, first to Dr. Jaideep Gupta. Yes. Shri Ravindra Kumar from NTPC. Aminat Shiza, Assistant Director, MCCEE. Simi Serene from Sustaina Cooling India Fund. Harkesh Dabas, oh sorry, Managing Director, Chia. Dr. Charu Jain, Charu, she's coming. Mr. Nanda, and Mr. Vasu. Also for our expert speakers, Mr. Mangesh, Shruti, may I request you also? Okay. Thank you, Tatiana, and sorry for making you run around. May I now request Tripta Singh, Senior Energy Advisor, Asia Bureau from the USAID Washington, to give a formal vote of thanks.
Dignitaries, friends, it's my great pleasure to thank our speakers for setting the stage, showcasing low-carbon technologies and practices, and putting forth an ambitious set of commitments to advance the low-carbon comfort and cooling collective, or LC4. Cooling is an area that resonates across several USAID priorities, extending beyond energy to also include health, education, agriculture, and livelihoods. The objectives of LC4 also touch on both the mitigation and adaptation goals of our agency climate strategy, which include partnering with countries to support activities that reduce, avoid, or sequester 6 billion metric tons of CO2 equivalent emissions and enabling the improved climate resilience of 500 million people. This morning, we heard Ambassador Garcetti reference extreme heat in his remarks. And earlier this year, USAID Administrator Samantha Power hosted the Global Summit on Extreme Heat, where she spoke about the importance of passive heating and cooling systems, as well as efficient air conditioning to mitigate high temperatures. She spoke particularly about protecting vulnerable communities against rising temperatures. As we move forward with LC4, I know that our focus will include rural areas and working to proactively identify communities most at risk from rising temperatures so we can deploy solutions to areas where they are most needed. We've heard about several exciting initiatives and ideas during the discussions today, including demand aggregation and economies of scale to drive down prices for technologies to make them more affordable. At USAID, we are very excited about this initiative and very much look forward to working in partnership with all of you who are spoken as part of this session, as well as with many of you in the audience and elsewhere. Thank you all again for a heartening and action-oriented session. I'm very much looking forward to our discussions over the next couple of days and hope you will join us for the cultural events and dinner this evening. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Tripta. With this, we close our session. Thank you, everyone.